Last December, Anschutz Entertainment Group decided to move the two-time MLS Cup champion San Jose Earthquakes to Houston.
We signed on for an adventure.
The first franchise shift in MLS history.
It was kind of a whirlwind.
For soccer players, that's a bad move.
For the Houston Dynamo, 2006 was nothing short of memorable.
I didn't know what to expect. You just gotta fight your way through it.
Unbelievable. What a great goal. The save. Right over. Houston has won it.
The whole situation of 2006 was unique in league history. I remember the day that when they came in and told us the team was shut down. It was kind of a whirlwind.
Pat and I and the players promised to the coaching staff, to the organization, and to the city that we're going to work as hard as we can from day one to make this championship team.
The season began with a great deal of uncertainty, while the front office underwent an unforeseen name change only weeks after being announced in Houston. Back in San Jose, the team was deciding who would be making the move.
And I have to be honest, I didn't know if I was going to be making the move with the team. You know, I wasn't 100% sure. It was going to come down to a total family decision. It had nothing to do with soccer because in the end, I only wanted to coach one team.
The team made the move to the University of Houston's Robertson Stadium, with Dominic Kinnear filling the role of head coach. But the jury was still out on how the fourth largest city in the U.S. would embrace their newest sports franchise.
It finally made sense to us when we showed up and the stadium was sold out and the people were going crazy and it was loud.
I mean, it was a great opening game for everybody. Obviously, Brian Ching had 4 goals, and that's a magical night for him. And I think to top it off with a bicycle kick goal, that always, caps off a great night of soccer and certainly a welcome to everybody. And I think we all came together that game, and we're really excited about it.
Alejandro Moreno.
It was almost like a drug that night, and I think that drug really pushed people over the edge as far as soccer goes in Houston. And I give credit to the guys. Obviously, Brian was probably the main supplier of that drug with his 4 goals. And I think people really caught on it. I think they realized that not only do we have a team here in Houston, but we have a winning team and potentially a championship team.
If you look at the first game of the season against Colorado, could go down in history as Brian Ching to score 4 goals for a new team, new franchise, and a new city, lays the foundations for the Houston Dynamo for many years to come.
Nice cross and a goal! Ball toward the corner. Sends to the box. Header and a goal! A hat trick in the first half for Brian Ching. There's the cross and a goal! De Rosario with the gorgeous cross. And the 4th time is the charm.
It was a tremendously successful game for myself and for the team. And I think that part of my success in that game is basically from my teammates. I mean, if you look at the goals I scored, it's all from good play from teammates. That kind of just started us off on the right foot with the fans and the season.
The next 2 games resulted in losses by the Dynamo. However, by the time they headed into their first match against Western Conference foe FC Dallas, their record stood at 3-2.
And Ruiz gets in the face of Sarah.
Houston and Dallas have a fairly big rivalry that not everybody on the team knew about coming from California, and it was pretty intense.
I dislike every team that we play against. I always say I want one team to win on Saturday and everybody else to tie, and I mean that. I want us to win, and I want everyone else not to. So I think the rivalry with Dallas, it kicked off great with that 4-3 game. There's some good individual matchups there with Carlos Ruiz, Ronnie O'Brien that was playing, and I don't really understand the whole history. I think soccer is, to have rivalries in soccer is fantastic, and if people want me to really enjoy it, I will.
After only a few homestands, the Dynamo knew they weren't walking alone as they stepped on the field at Robertson. From now on, El Batallón and the Texian Army would forever be on their side.
They're amazing, El Battalion, the Texian Army. Just to see that one end of the stadium that's bouncing up and down the whole game and waving the flags.
It's more like a European setting where they're always chanting and making noise throughout the game, and it's just a lot of fun to play for.
Houston was an area that they'd considered for MLS, and they'd had some fantastic attendances for some of the big games. But it's a different thing to come out and support a team on a weekly basis. Seeing the support that the fans showed us towards the end of the season and through the playoffs, and particularly in MLS Cup, I think really kind of showed to the guys that this is a fantastic soccer town, and this is a town where this team is going to have big support and will make a big impact on the community.
Gearing up for their first trip back to California since the move, the team was set to face longtime rival, the LA Galaxy. The game ended in a tie and demonstrated that rivalries are stronger than state boundaries. Next on the schedule was another California contender, and 3 points on the line as they faced Western Conference challenger, Chivas USA.
Dwayne de Rosario.
Unsatisfied by the draw, they were determined to show Chivas USA how to win at home.
And not only did we win the game, but I got to score a goal on my birthday. I know everybody gets a chance to do that. I got to do something that I've never done before in the field. I was saying happy birthday to myself, and I think I did that in the celebration. And the rest of the day was a pretty good day for me, for my family. Got to eat some cake at home, and needless to say, it was a great weekend for us.
As the Dynamo introduced New England to the Bayou City, Houston welcomed to the field one of its own. Stuart Holden earned minutes and respect in front of his hometown crowd.
I hadn't even touched the ball yet at this point, and Alejandro was like running down the left and cuts it back to the top of the box, and it's just perfectly laid back, and I just kind of smashed it, and it went in the corner with my first touch of the game, and it was just an amazing feeling. And I don't think it would have been quite as special if it had been in, like, say, Colorado or Columbus or another city like that.
The Dynamo had significant impact on the MLS AllStar Game. The combination of Ching, Clark, De Rosario, Mullen, and Robinson proved to be a lethal combination against English Premier League champions Chelsea.
The spine of our team was represented pretty well at the AllStar Game. And Dwayne scores the goal, and Eddie's plays highlighted as well.
Talking about a case of being in the right place at the right time. I mean, I got there just in time, luckily enough. Right place, right time, fantastic.
It was unbelievable. I never expected to be playing against a top European team like Chelsea.
Just to be named as an All-Star is an honor for anyone, and to be able to play against Chelsea, guys who not even 2 months before that we're watching every single one of them play in the World Cup. It's a little intimidating, but at the same time, it's once in a lifetime.
That was my World Cup. I never had the opportunity to play in a World Cup. Chelsea was definitely a game that I wanted to be a part of, and not only be a part of, I wanted to have an impact in that game. I think that goal definitely was not only important for me, but it was important for MLS, it was important for Houston, and it was bigger than just me.
There may have been debate on which Texas team ranked supreme. On August 12th, there was no question as the Houston-Dallas rivalry grew even stronger.
Sometimes you want to bite at somebody on the field, and they want to bite you back, so it becomes a little more aggressive, and I think it's fine. A healthy rivalry is nothing wrong with that. It, again, creates something to look forward to on a weekend when you know that we're going to play Dallas, and you have 20,000 fans coming to cheer against the opposing team.
Well, it's important for the fans, and if it's important for the fans, it's got to be important to us as well, because the support that we get from them was critical for us throughout the season. There were well-played games and well-fought games, and you got the whole story about the cannon and who has that and who doesn't have it. And to be honest with you, I haven't seen the cannon yet, but apparently we have it.
The closing stretch of the regular season had the team on the road for more than half of their games. Knowing they played their best when supported by the Orange North End, the Dynamo were facing a tough few weeks. A string of mediocre results had everyone concerned about the Dynamo playoff future. While in Chicago, De Rosario proved he's a man willing to take chances.
When someone says you can't do it, I'm the one that will try to do it. And I love shooting, so if I see any opportunity that I can score, I take that opportunity. So happened I got the ball, I think Wade won it in midfield. The ball came to me, and I saw throughout the whole game Zach was cheating a little bit out of his net. So I didn't expect it to be at the halfway line that I was going to take the shot, but that's how it worked out. And I looked up and I saw him off his line. I said, hey, let me go for it.
As soon as he hit it, we all kind of said this has a chance, because he hit it so well. And then when it goes in, it really catches you by surprise, because how often do you see a goal like that? Maybe once or twice a year, you know, from anywhere around the world.
You know, I think the ball came down with snow on it, but you know, I saw him slide and hit the net. I said, "Oh man, great goal!" But here's a 200 and some pound guy. Well, I'll say 160 for, you know, he's probably gonna come after me this year. You know, one sense I was like, great. The other sense I was like, oh, I better watch my back.
With pressure mounting and the team needing a victory to regain confidence and get back on track, the Dynamo were focused on that all-important W. Only 3 home games remained. A win against Chivas would not only secure a position in the playoffs, but also a first or second seed. The Western Conference was getting more interesting every week, not the scenario the Dynamo wanted to face.
I think our focus was to catch Dallas at the time. And Dallas was kind of playing a head game with us. Every time we had the opportunity to go up and then we lost points and they gained points. And every time we gained points, they gained points. So, it was like a little rat race going on between us and Dallas.
The Dynamo playoff position was uncertain until the evening of September 30th, when Brian Ching produced something out of the theater of the imagination.
The bicycle, it's in the net! It's in the net! It's in the net! It is in the net! Goal! Houston Dynamo, Brian Ching! It's the goal of the year! What a shot! It's unbelievable! It's time to make the donuts! This wakes up the crowd!
The hard work was just beginning. The 2 remaining games in the regular season both resulted in draws. Not exactly the momentum the team was hoping to muster as they prepared to face Chivas USA in the Western Conference semifinals. After 32 games in the record books, it all comes down to this series. Game 1 found the Dynamo in a stadium filled with red, white, and blue. In this case, not a friendly atmosphere.
Rosario, the Ching to tie it up! Goes down! Won't get a call, I don't think.
With time running out and down a goal, the Dynamo found themselves in an all too familiar position.
What a huge goal for Houston! Drives it in. It's Francisco! Razov. It'll be Razov on the...
I remember Dwayne had a chance in the end with the penalty kick, and the penalty kick gets stopped, and now all of a sudden we come home and we're down a goal. But there was never doubt, there was never panic.
We knew when we came home in our house here that we were going to have the fans. It was going to be a big party. They were going to be loud, and all of our guys were going to be ready to go. So coming back here 1 down was not a big worry for us.
As the Dynamo mentally and physically prepared for their second leg against Chivas USA, soccer fans were paying close attention to the other team in Texas.
Ruiz beats Cannon. Good ball, comes right down. Oh, and the goal comes from Nico!
For every reason, Colorado, they've done well in the playoffs. They're very unpredictable. A lot of guys perform well at the right times for them.
Colorado was kind of a tricky one because we didn't really know what to expect. They were kind of like that joker in the pack,
Got to score again to force PKs. Sends one in. Good ball. At the 18, Mathis with the left. Clint! Oh, yes!
FC Dallas had fallen in surprising fashion, which lifted the Dynamo to an interesting position in the playoffs.
Can he send the Rapids on to the Western Conference Finals? Yes, he can!
As a person who watches soccer, I thought, man, that was a great game. And secondly, going, wait a second, we're hosting now the Western Conference Final.
We know that Robertson Stadium's a home field advantage. Nobody wants to play us here. Nobody wants to deal with our crowd, and nobody, especially Chivas, wanted to come here in the playoffs.
Our first instinct was going forward, and we just pressured them, and they started to sit back. And when Paul finished that flick on, I was like, okay, we have these guys exactly where we want them. We knew that at the end of that game, that we deserved to win that series.
And they get their goal!
I think the biggest thing for us too was the crowd. It was one of the most impressive crowds that I've ever been a part of, certainly in North America.
I turned to John and I said, John, can you hear it? And he said, this is the best atmosphere I've witnessed in America. I still get chills thinking about it.
It was a chilly night in November. As the bagpipers blew their tune, the crowd of over 23,000 fans grew increasingly louder.
You could feel it from the crowd that night because, you know, obviously that was the final home game. There couldn't have been another home game with the MLS Cup being in Dallas.
Mark ships it in. Rosario flicks it. Dalglish. 1 more. 10 minutes. Dribble. Now it's off to Davis. His cross. Mullen. Oh, in front. Houston are up 2-1. It's Dalglish.
It was electric. The fans really wanted us to win. We could have had an off night and maybe still won that because the fans wanted it so bad.
Lovely flick from Davis. Moreno to seal the deal. The cross. Oh, yes!
But it took something from the coach, I think, that set us off, that you know, said that we're very predictable. So we had a lot to prove that day. And we pretty much know when he said that he put the icing on his own cake.
With horns blowing early this morning, hundreds of fans gathered at Gallery Furniture's parking lot and formed a convoy for the drive to Dallas.
The stage was set. In their inaugural season, the Houston Dynamo would face the New England Revolution. Each team was hoping this would be their first year to raise the cup.
I don't even remember seeing a New England section. And I know going back and watching the game that they had one, but man, the stadium was just swimming in orange. And by the time the game started, all we could hear was Dynamo fans.
The first half of play concluded with 0 goals scored. As each team prepared for the final 45 minutes, Dynamo fans continued their relentless chant. Entering the second half, both teams were aggressively attacking the ball, trying to gain the upper hand. With every minute, frustrations were mounting, and the crowd was on edge.
Every single person on that field battled until they were absolutely drained.
With over 3,200 minutes of soccer played over the course of the MLS season, another 30 minutes was not what either team had expected.
Smith again. Man, he eats up chunks of real estate in a hurry. Here's Taylor Coleman. His shot.
I think that's just the spirit of this team, is never to give up. You know, it's just kind of like a sigh, and then just kind of get back on your horse and start charging again.
To go from dejection all the way up to elation, there was no stop in between. And
now another first. For the first time in MLS history, the championship would be decided by penalty kicks.
Houston is shoot first. Kelly Gray sticks it in.
Right down the middle. Did not mess around at all.
We are tied at 1. Here he comes. He nailed it. What a great penalty. The goalkeeper. And he nails it into the upper corner. Great penalty. Saved by Reese. He comes up huge again. He did not get it. Get it. Rosario does. Finally right. He sticks it in. Stutter step Peets. The save right on the line. And it's over. Houston has won it. Houston has won the 2006 MLS Cup.
The Dynamo held true to their promise and did all they could to win the championship for their new home. Now they've reserved their place in MLS history, while the city of Houston has shown exactly what it means to be a soccer city. Together we are forever orange.